Hello, today we are painting a Himalayan cat with acrylic paints. What you will need is a canvas. This right here is an 8 by 10 inch canvas. For paintbrushes, you'll need a large, medium, and small flat brush, as well as a small round liner for details. You will need a paint palette, some sort of washcloth or paper towels, and a cup for water. For your acrylic paints, get out your black and white, blue and green, and then some sort of pink color as well. To start your painting off, we're going to need to paint the background, and then when that background is finished, we will need that to completely dry before moving on to painting our cat. So I recommend having a hairdryer available, and if not, you'll just have to wait for each layer to dry in between. And that takes like 10 to 15 minutes usually. Luckily, acrylic dries quickly, but having the hairdryer definitely helps. So to start off, we're gonna paint our background. So get out your blue. I'm gonna make a nice pile of blue here, and I am going to add some white into my blue. I just like to make my background pretty light. I don't want it to be too dark because it just makes painting the cat on top a lot easier. So if you're mixing up a lighter blue, make sure it's fully mixed really well and get your paintbrush nice and coated with paint. And now let's paint a line. You can find the middle of your canvas and go down a little bit from there. And we're just gonna paint a line right across to separate the sky from the ground. I don't want to have any buildup of paint, so anywhere that it's getting really thick, I'm just brushing out and making it really nice and smooth. Okay, and now I like to go down the side and in. This side too, I'm gonna move this out of the way. And this side too. In. And then that just makes it easier, in my opinion, to just go back and forth and cover everything up then. A nice solid blue background. Okay. When that's completely covered and there's no white coming through, I'm gonna wipe off my brush and rinse it really good before getting out my green paint. Now the same thing with this green, I like to lighten it up a little bit. And instead of adding white to the green, I actually like to add yellow. This is kind of white and yellow together, but if I find that if I just add white, it makes the green kind of not really the color I'm looking for. It makes it too pale, and I still want it to look like green grass, so the yellow helps with that. All right. And then we're just gonna paint that green. Again, I like to go across that line here to start. And then fill that whole space in. Just want to make sure there's no white showing. All right. Now again, this would only take about 10 minutes or so to dry. But for our video, we're going to use our hair dryer and get that dried off. So if you have a hair dryer and you can follow along, that would be great. It'll just speed up the process. So here we go. Alrighty. Now that that is completely dry, we're going to move on to painting our Himalayan cat. So we will start off with our white paint. Make a nice, there's some dried paint there. Get a nice pile of white paint right here. And let's get the medium-sized flat brush to start. Okay, get a nice amount of paint on your brush. We're gonna start off by painting a nice big circle right here. Going, I would say start right in the very middle of your canvas. Come down. And we're gonna leave about the same amount of space on each side. So that's gonna look like this. Start in the middle. Circle down. See how we're leaving space on the side? Leave space at the bottom. But this is a nice big circle for our fluffy Himalayan cat. I would say make the circle smaller. If you're worried about making it too big, make it smaller than you mean to, and then you can always make it bigger, because it's harder to do the other way around. It would be pretty hard to make this circle smaller now. So we're just getting this basic shape. And what we can do actually is add some fluff. These little kind of like spikes on the side here. All the way around. This side too. Just kind of bringing some fluff out. Okay. There's going to be a tail off the side here, so just make sure you've left enough room for that. I'm going to wait and paint that with my gray. I might actually bring it on this side because it looks like I have a little bit more room over here. It really depends where you have the space for it, where you paint that tail. It'll be fine. And you can see I'm kind of just going back over any spots that I'm seeing green or blue come through as it dries. Okay? We're gonna do the same thing we just did and paint another big old circle right on top here. So just ignoring what we've already painted, we're gonna go up to about here. Make sure you leave enough room above it for ears. And then we're just coming down. Making another circle right on top. gonna all blend together. And that's okay, because we're gonna add all of the details later to make the head and neck and everything stand out from the body. Right now we're just laying the basics down. You can add a little bit of fluff along the sides. Let's get those ears on there. They're gonna be kind of small. Himalayan cats don't have big ears like some other cat breeds. And again, we're just fluffing the sides out. I'm just taking the edge of my brush and just kind of going like this. Fluffing it out, making these little spikes at the top too. I can make mine a little bit wider now that I can kind of see the whole thing. Right here where the body starts, I can just kind of bring this out a little bit more. Now we have a big furry blob that we have to turn into a cat. So, again, I'm just touching all these spots again to make sure the blue is covered. And I'm ready to make a gray color. Okay, get out your black paint. We're gonna just drip a little bit right here next to the white we already have. You'll only need a tiny bit. And I'm going to grab some of this white and mix it with the black. Just gonna keep mixing. I might need to add some more white down here. If you'd like to get a little bit more like realistic with your cat, you could add some beige or like a brown color into your gray. And that will just warm the color up a little bit and make it look a little bit more like that gray color you see on Himalayan cats. Add a little bit more. Just want it to be a little bit lighter. And you can go ahead and use this brush if you'd like to for the next step, but I'm actually thinking it's going to be a little bit larger than I would need, so I'm going to rinse this brush off and use the next size down. So I'm going to clean that really good and get my small flat brush. Okay, getting this gray, brown gray color. I'm gonna start right here and paint a leg. So you see where the green starts? Right below that, you can just kind of imagine that's about where this leg is gonna start. And I'm making it a little bit wider at the top and then a little bit thinner as it goes down. Okay, and at the bottom, just paint an oval. Right next to that, paint your other oval. And we're doing the same thing, just starting wider at the top, going down. We have some legs. Okay, if it's mixing too much with your white, you might need to dry the background first, but I think this is working pretty well. And let's add a tail. I'm gonna put it on this side, starting right at that halfway point, kind of tucking the paint, like morphing it around the white. I'm gonna come down. You could draw a line to guide yourself first, like that, and then fluff it out. I'm trying not to touch the sides. I want to keep everything inside my canvas. But I want to make sure it's nice and fluffy. All right. If this looks weird where it's connecting to the body, we're gonna go back with some white and we can fix all that up in the future here. I'm gonna make these legs a little bit longer because we're gonna do something similar here too. And I just wanna give them a little bit more space, kind of blending them a little bit more cleanly up. All right. Our ears are gonna be gray as well. So let's come back over those ears. And just paint the outsides of the triangles. That. Okay. And our face mask. So your ears are right here. Just go down a little bit from the ears. And we're going to paint a little circle. Remember, we can make it bigger, but it's hard to make it smaller. So just start with a little circle and then we're gonna go out from that and just make it bigger. These spikes on the edges to show the fur. And don't go the whole way to the white. Leave some white on either side. But we're going over to the white. Down. Now I'm just going back over everything, making sure that there's no weird white gaps or spaces coming through. I think that looks pretty good. Let's dry this off. Fix this a little bit more here actually. All right, now let's dry it. Now I'm getting my white paint. I'm gonna make a little pile next to my gray. And using this same brush, I'm gonna pick up some of that white, mix it with the gray that's on my paintbrush. I'm trying to get a shade that's just a little bit lighter than what I just painted, because I'm gonna go back over this gray with this lighter color. You see how I'm just focusing on the middle of the legs, and I'm painting down, but I'm not touching the sides because I want the sides of the legs to stay that darker color. So same here with the feet. You see how I'm just painting that lighter gray in the middle and then blending it a little bit. That will give some dimension and make your painting look more 3D basically. So the tail, again, I'm gonna just along the side this time with this lighter gray, making that a lot easier to see. And then I'm just gonna add these streaks with it, blending very softly. Might even want to go in with a little bit lighter, even some more white. And just do that one more time. Blending it really softly. And then same thing in the face, start in the very middle. Focus, just painting that there. Get it covered really good, and then blend out. I might want to wipe the extra paint off my brush and then come back and blend this out. That way you'll get really nice, smooth transition from this lighter gray to this darker gray. Lovely. Now we are gonna rinse our brush. I'm gonna get my black paint ready for some details. Just a few drops. I'm also going to get the pink for the ears. This is a coral color. You really only need a tiny little bit. I'm also going to mix a tiny bit of this magenta in with the coral. So I just grab a little bit. Use whatever pink you like. Mixing these two, and I'm gonna add white. All right, it's a nice color for the ears. I'm just gonna put that in, focusing on one side, making it all the way over here. Okay. Painting that triangle in. And the nose right in the middle, kind of high up maybe because it's a Himalayan cat. So their noses are a bit more smushed, so we can exaggerate and make that nose a little bit higher on the face than we might on other cats. Just a horizontal line with a little point in the middle. And if you want to get fancy with it, go back in your palette, grab a little bit more white, make a lighter pink, and just again put that lighter pink right in the middle of that darker pink, blend it out. Look at that really cool effect. On the nose, I can just drop the white in. Mix that. All right, rinse my brush. No more pink is needed. I want to get some blue here. If you still have blue from your background, use that. I have enough to use, so I don't need to get any out, but if you want to use blue, you can make your eyes whatever color you want, really. Green eyes, I know some Himalayans have green eyes, so if you have green left over, use that, or if you want to get yellow or whatever color will work. These eyes are going to be flat, so you start to the left, to the side of the nose, make a flat line like this, and then curve underneath, like a half circle. Same thing on this side, flat horizontal line, curved at the bottom, fill that in, Make sure they're even. All right, rinse your brush. It's time to move on to the black paint. Make sure that if you need a little bit of practice, you could practice your lines right here on your palette. You really want to press very lightly. If you press too hard, you're going to make some thick lines. So press nice and light. Practice some lines. And then we're going to come over here, starting at the nose, going down, over, up. Starting here, over, up. That one got a little bit thicker, but it's okay. It's better to just leave it like that than to try to go back and fix it. I'm adding a little chin. I'm gonna go around and add some more lines along the whole outside. This is called outlining, and it's a little bit trickier. It takes more control of your brush. So if you're not comfortable doing this, you don't need to do this step, but it's great practice for your line work and for your control. So I'm just adding a black line around the outside. I do need to distinguish where the body meets the legs. So I'm coming down here with these zigzags, creating the fluff. Around the legs here. And around back. That should help if you have any issues where your tail's meeting your body. But if it still doesn't look right there, we can also go back in with some white too. Okay, let's do our feet. I'm gonna go curve line like this, starting up here, curve another line like that. One more toe, just like that. This side, starting right here, curving down this way. 2, 3 toes. All right, we're almost done. Just gotta outline the tail. Sometimes I add a tiny bit of water to make the black a little bit easier to spread. All right. Add a few more little fluffs here. Fix a few spots. Okay, and now that blue in our eyes should be dry. So I'm gonna add some eyebrows, starting above the eye, curling down, back, down, back. And we need pupils. Starting at the top of the eye, I just put a half a circle, a little bigger. This side too. Half a circle, cut off at the top. Outline the face. All right. Now I'm gonna rinse my brush. And I'm gonna get my hair dryer off and dry this because the last step is adding little white dots in the eyes. And if I do that on top of the black right now, they might come out gray. So just to kind of put the finishing touches on everything so that we can see what it looks like, we're gonna dry it completely and then finish up here. All right, with my small detail brush, I'm getting my white paint, and in the top corner of each eye, just dropping a little circle of white. That will make our cat a little bit more like a cartoon. And I'm gonna go around and touch up a few spots. You might not need to do this for yours, but I just want to make everything look just the way I like it to. All right, and I'm going to get a tiny bit of this gray. All right, maybe a little bit more white in the tail. All right, rinse your brush. Make sure all your brushes are super clean. Clean up your area and your palette, and hopefully you have a beautiful painting of a Himalayan cat now, and that we learned something today about acrylic paintings. I had a lot of fun doing this guy, and I hope you'll join me for one of our future cat videos as well. We have cats, a bunch of different dog breeds, and a whole ton of animals and other fun paintings for you to join along with. So if you enjoyed painting with acrylic with me today, please come back and join us again. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you take care. Bye-bye.